Fire is bright and fire is clean. But is it clean when fire burns your ability to learn? When fire burns your humanity because it stops you from thinking? This book doesn't believe so. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury was one of the classic fictions that got me into reading. Paper starts to burn at Fahrenheit 451, hence the title. But to analyze, fire symbolizes the banning of books, the recession to a world of mundanity, and losing the true nuance of being a human, being able to think intently. To define books in the context of this story, books means any literature, meaning any poems, prose, diaries, dictionaries, or even the Bible. Such eradication of the anti-intellect totalitarian regime, the governing power in the story, was justified because it makes people unhappy. The philosophy of life imposed on their citizen was that the true meaning of life was to be happy. Ergo, we do not need any writings to criticize what is happening around us or make us question our reality. And since books do that, they just erased it. In that world, the government believes that we can be happy as long as no one was opposing us. And we can be happy by simply accepting the entertainment given to us by the regime. Fortunately for the governing power in this dystopian world, they were able to control society as a whole by pushing into the citizens' life an overwhelming amount of content to digest. Everywhere the characters look at, it was screens full of news, entertainment, sports, advertisements, and a vast amount of media. The world around them was so fast-paced that they don't have the time to let those ideas being given to them to be analyzed and let those kinds of thoughts simmer in their minds. Hence, they don't have the exercise of their thoughts. Adding to this fast-paced world were book bans. With this, people lost the ability to think critically. Since no one had the capabilities to think, how can they overthrow the government if they don't even have the ability to think that? They can't think for themselves, therefore, they can't think of what is right and what is wrong, and questioning the authority used against them. The citizens of this story had sunk into a mundane life while all they had to do was wake up, eat, work, digest, go home, eat, sleep. Wake up, eat, work, digest, go home, eat, sleep. Wake up, work, eat, digest, go home, eat, sleep. In that fast-paced cyclical world, there was no room to think. But after all, they're happy. No one was opposing them. They can laugh from the delight, the entertainment given to them by the government-approved channels. It's basically, if you're not thinking, then you're happy. Because they're in this flowy state of not thinking, they lose the only characteristic that sets us humans apart from other creatures, the ability to think intently. All creatures in this world move by instinct, including us. When a vulture sees a dead bird, then automatically it would see it as food. It would eat it to soothe its hunger. It won't think of anything else because they move by instinct. However, what sets us apart is that we are able to think abstractly. We can question our morals that affects everyone else. We can put symbolism into anything, which helps to see what is right and what is wrong. When we see a dead bird, we wouldn't necessarily think that it's just food. We can form any thought in our heads. How did it die? What does this mean to our environment? Do we need to focus on this problem, or do we need to focus less on this because there are other problems that we should focus on? That is what sets us apart from other creatures. That is what's unique about us. And because of that, we're able to better our society. If we simply neglect thinking as a whole, we wouldn't improve anything. We would just be a vulture eyeing and eating a dead bird. The governing power in this story successfully dehumanized people. Fire burned the true meaning of life, the freedom to learn and think for oneself, to seek individuality that can give path to a secured happiness. Happiness where we are able to be compassionate and do whatever we want, not just laughing from the mass-produced entertainment around us to make us giggle or laugh. Our happiness roots from individuality and freedom. I give props to the books for being written in such a thought-provoking way. To me, it was also very easy to imagine the fast-paced world, and it was also close to home, especially with how our entertainment would revolve around short-form videos like TikTok, Reels, or Shorts, and YouTube. To give criticism to this book, in the earlier parts of the book, 17-year-old girl Clarice was introduced. This is like the early pivotal point of Guy Montag, which lets him see how Clarice views the world, which is mysterious, something a viewpoint Guy Montag didn't really have. However, I don't think Clarice was written in a way that readers were able to feel how important she was. Because frankly, I didn't really care who Clarice was. I get that she was used to show how the world works in this book, but since Clarice only ever questioned the reality and then dies, it didn't feel evocative. I wish Clarice was given more background or interactions with Guy, something that would make the book feel more heavy, something that would make me care about her. Then I would have felt more intrigued by the book. I also wish the book showed more experiences of Clarice to at least show how the youth was in that world. And maybe it would also hit closer to the younger audiences that would read this book. Moving on, the ending was a bit bland. It ended with the city burning down after Guy was seen with the book and then he was being hunted down but he was never caught. He just ran away from the city and then meets a group of people. The people he meets gets to be introduced as like the book lovers, something like that. And they claim that they have those books memorized in their minds already. But it leaves the question, so what? So what if they have those books memorized in their heads? The city had burned down and no one else was there but them. What would this entail? But to counter myself, since they're not part of the fast-paced world where Guy Montag was living, they're more than just a body laughing at what is giving at them to laugh at. With the analysis of the life I mentioned earlier, they would have felt the true happiness, being the individual that they are and having the freedom to memorize those books and enjoy those books. But then again, the city was burned down. It's just dead now, assuming that everyone died since it was a bomb. So who cares if they memorize this in their head? But that argument is a bit more secluded to that country only. Maybe they would be able to spread those ideas in other countries, assuming that the world as a whole, not just their country, also follows this book banning. Afterthought. I think I want people to read the book more than watching it. The whole purpose of the book's to show you how important it is to take your time and analyze what you're being fed and to criticize it in a way that it would be improved. But the movie would just be there for an hour or two. You already know the story, and the moment that it finishes, it is more likely that you would just forget, since it's just there for entertainment and not necessarily to be analyzed, unlike books. If you read the book and analyze it, then it is more likely to stick to you. And I think when people give this book a chance, I think they would have the motivation or even a reason to continue reading, because it certainly gave me the reason to read more books. Big recommendation. That's it. Bye!